Today we're going to talk about how to build a strong relationship with other people. Okay, now I read this from an amazing book recently. It's called The Like Switch, and it's an FBI agent that goes around, and this was his job, where he would recruit spies from other countries and recruit them to work for America. And it's an amazing book, and he talks about how to build relationships and how to recruit other people, and he kind of put it in a perspective where I never really looked at it this way, and he talks about those 4 things that you need to build strong relationships, right? So number 1 is frequency, number 2 is proximity, number 3 is duration, and number 4 is intensity. And we're gonna go over each one of these right now in a second, but just understand that everything rises and falls on leadership, and leadership at the end of the day is about building relationships with other people, right? So if you're building a team, you're building a company, you have employees, whatever it may be, if you're building a relationship with your family members, like you need to have these 4 things. Now, what he talks about in the book, right, is that the frequency of seeing somebody multiple times actually makes them want to like you, right? And that's what helps you build a relationship, right? The start of a relationship is actually to get someone to like you. Now, how do you get someone to like you? Well, be frequent in front of them. So for example, let's say there's a gentleman that works in a grocery store, and you want to recruit him for your business as an example, and you want to start a relationship with him. The best way to start that relationship, or to even get that person to like you and have common ground, is to be frequent. Show up to that grocery store and just show up. You don't have to even say anything. But if he sees you and you see him 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, after a couple of times, the psychological factor that the guy is going through is that he thinks that you're not an enemy. You're actually a friend, not a foe. And what ends up happening is that he starts to like you. And then the second thing is also proximity, right? If you're near people frequently, what will end up happening is that they will automatically like you, and that's the beginning stage of building that relationship. So you need frequency and you need proximity to actually start getting that person to kind of like you. And it's crazy how this guy was talking about, this FBI agent. He was talking about how, when he was trying to recruit spies that were working for another government like China or Russia or whatever, he would literally, in order for to switch them, from the evil side to start working for America, the first thing that he would do is he would follow them around, right? And just show his face. He wouldn't say anything. He wouldn't say, here, I work for the government, nothing. He would just be frequent and have proximity with them, okay? By being frequent, every morning, he would show up to that bagel store where that, spy would show up to. He would show up, get his newspaper, get his cup of coffee, sit down, and just sit there. And that other spy would see him, and he would see him, and they wouldn't say anything. They would just see each other, and then he would go on his day. The next day, he would do the same thing. So he would do it for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, and through frequency, that other person became curious, was like, who is this guy, right? And he started to like him, so to say, because he's seen that he's not a foe, right? Because proximity and frequency makes a person say, hey, this is not an enemy, this is not a threat, okay? Now, the next thing that he did was duration, right? Talking to him every single, like after a couple of days, couple of weeks, he would just send him a letter and say, hey, nice to meet you. My name is Michael. I work for the FBI. I just want to let you know that, we want to talk to you. But what he did was he planted seeds with the frequency and the proximity. That changed everything, right? And the duration, every day just showing up, the duration of him having a conversation with him after he gave him that letter, that duration started to build that relationship with that person liking them, okay? And the last thing, obviously, is the intensity. You can do all this stuff and get people to like you, but at the end of the day, if you don't invest time and have deeper quality conversations with people and invest time and see who they're about and have intensity, they're not going to like you, they're not going to build a relationship with you. So in order to have a strong relationship, you need to have frequency, you need to have proximity, you need to have duration, you need to have intensity. So my question to you is very simple. What can you do if you're trying to recruit somebody that is a big, let's say you're trying to recruit a CFO right now, or let's say you're trying to recruit a top sales leader, or let's say you're trying to recruit a manager to work in your business, right? How are you going to recruit them? Just by calling them and saying, hey, I got an offer for you, that's not going to work. What you need to do is figure out how can you be in front of their face. Now, having videos as an example, you watching my video, I'm being frequent, right? Me having, let's say I walk by you in the street and I say, hello, good morning, that's proximity as an example. So you have to study who you're trying to recruit. You have to study who you're trying to build relationships with. And by doing so, you can create that frequency and proximity very fast, right? And then obviously, the duration. Time always makes it much better to build a stronger relationship. As time goes on, now obviously if you do things the wrong way, it can kill your whole relationship, but duration is very important as well. So how long can you actually build that relationship little by little before you say, hey, come work for me, right? The easiest people to recruit are the ones that you what? build a stronger relationship, and you need some time. Sometimes time is really what's going to help, heal things. That happens in relationships all the time when you're going through a breakup. You have an argument. You don't need to solve that problem right there and then. I learned this the hard way because I'm the guy that wants to solve everything now, today. I want to get it done now, right? And that was a mistake. Sometimes you need to have some duration, some time in between that person to let them cool off, and a couple of days later you can sit down and talk to them and have a conversation about what you need to get talked about, right? So intensity as well, right? The deeper the conversation, the deeper the relationship, I want you to think about it. That's what's going to end up recruiting and building those strong relationships with other people. So my question to you is very simple. What can you do today to build stronger relationships? How can you increase your frequency? How can you increase your proximity with whoever you're trying to target? How can you increase your duration and increase your intensity to build that strong relationship? So I appreciate you guys for watching this video. Do me a favor, if you agree with this kind of content, if you agree with the information I just said, drop a like, drop a comment, and subscribe to our channel so we can start impacting other people and get to 100,000 plus subscribers on this channel. Love you guys. See you guys in the next video.